We are live. Me and Nez taking on Bunt Draft tonight. Nez, AJ, thanks for coming on. How's it going?
Yo, man. It's been sorry, I had to just mute the stream. It's been great, man. It's been going real well. Doing a ton of drafts. You and I actually did a draft earlier today. There's a little friends and family bunt draft. Basically, is like the whole Spike Week Discord in there today. So that was a lot of fun. Get a practice run at our dual draft today.
Yeah, so I've done probably 3 already today, and I can tell you right now, it's they're already not as fun as they were last week.
Right?
The sharps have arrived. The ADPs are flying up the board.
We
Seeing
did
my
it.
guy Shane Baz go in like the one. Saw someone take him in the 150s. I'm like, oh, okay, this is starting to get out of hand.
Yep. Whenever it first came out, ADP, like I loved that. That first ADP, it was just there was no decimals, just the point zeros, and it would just take your pick. It was so out of whack. It was so out of whack. But I mean, it's because we keep drafting so much and we keep reaching on the guys that we know are good, and then they just constantly creep up little by little.
Yep, I'm doing it to myself, taking
Exactly.
these guys before ADP. Yeah, and I definitely want another thing about those ADPs. That was one advantage I was taking last year with the DraftKings late start NFL best balls. Every week when they'd start with the preseason ADPs.
Yes.
So you get Cam Akers at ranked 12th every single draft,
Right.
and then someone ends up auto picking them. Nobody knows where to draft guys. So
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking of at the start of these contests. But yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. As soon as I see a fresh contest, I get in there and just try to take advantage of those fresh ADPs.
alrighty. So we are going to brave the bunt tonight. Let's go ahead. I got $5 to spare. So this is going to be just me drafting tonight. I'll get some free alpha here from Nez. Definitely like exposing myself to new player takes because I know I get stuck in my own way sometimes. And unfortunately, it looks like we have some work to do with filling these drafts. They do take a little bit to fill.
That's all right. It gives time for people to come in and join us. So that's actually that's perfect in my eyes. So we'll give people time to trickle in, hop in here. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good draft. And like they all say, drafting with streamers is plus EV. So
yeah. Plus EV, come take our money.
Right. I mean, we got your rake. We'll cover it for you. It's fine. So I know right now, hot topic has been zero pitcher right now. As you continue to draft, do you find yourself doing more and more zero pitcher, or have you started to pivot purposefully?
So I'm 10 drafts in right now. Got a couple in the bunt, couple in the dinger, and I have started to mix it up a little bit. I was drafting exclusively zero pitcher to start, and as the ADPs have shifted, it's gotten a little bit scarier with that method. Like when the drafts first started, I could get Alek Manoah in round 12, 13. And since then, Manoah's ADP is up to 117 last I checked. So starting to lose out on the high upside, viable back end arms. So right. I'll definitely keep mixing it up throughout the season. But I've started doing a couple more drafts where I lean towards 8 pitchers or 7 pitchers, grab a couple of guys on like the Freddie Peralta, Julio Urias tier, get a couple pseudo aces, and get a couple extra hitters. What about you?
Yeah, guys that, like you said, just guys that'll just throw for a good chunk of innings, probably more than most. But yeah, I've definitely begun to do some pivoting as well. One thing that I've been playing around with right now is doing zero infield, essentially, or just kind of making that my most picked position, and going like outfield real early, like outfield and pitcher tandem early, and then just go hammer on infield, because I do think, there's a few reasons why I think that can be effective. I mean, one, there's more infield positions and outfield positions on a baseball diamond, so the outfield, the cream rises to the top, and then that gets taken real quick. So you have that, and then there's also still, I think, a lot of good value buried in the infield players that you can take late and that guy could end up being somebody who starts for you almost every week, depending on obviously how things go out. So that, and then I haven't yet done like a zero outfield yet necessarily. I
Ooh.
don't. That is just a road that I'm scared to go down. But hey, depending on how things go tonight, we may end up doing that.
Oh man, yeah. It took me one draft to realize real quick that outfield just evaporates after round 6.
Mm-hmm.
The elite guys fly off the board there, not necessarily because they're so much better than the infielders. It's just there's so much positional scarcity there. Not a lot of great mid-round picks for the outfielders.
That's my buddy Jake in the chat. Don't rewrite the wheel, or don't reinvent the wheel, I think you mean there, buddy. But follow the Ben Cherington strat strategy. If we followed the Ben Cherington strat strategy, then we would be in 12th place every draft. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do the Ben strategy. But I think right now, Soto makes sense for me as far as like ADP goes. Like for the top 4, I think the way you have it makes sense. I do think I saw our boy Manfred take a bunch of Tatis today at the 101.
He was getting all the influencer 101s today.
He was. I mean, it's funny how that works, right? What's going on? What's going on, mods? But I like Tatis at 101 too. I mean, there's no like right answer, I don't think. But if I'm at the 101, I'm going to take Soto probably 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, so Soto missed some time last year. He missed an extended amount of time.
He did. He missed quite a bit,
I believe, right?
I can't. I thought it was actually an injury because I thought he was out for. I mean, he missed a good bit of time, but he came back like guns blazing.
Right, and then Tatis had the shoulder last year, and he kept
super scary
that shoulder. So that's
super
the biggest question mark with Tatis. So I do like Soto at the 101, and then. Yeah, with baseball, just so much variance. We have Vlad Jr. Toronto is back playing in Toronto this year, so he's not playing in the minor league Dunedin Park where he could put out every pop fly he hits. So just a lot more question marks than you'd like to see with the first round.
Definitely. And like we were talking about in the Discord, taking Acuna now, but giving him a pretty good bump now that the lockout is unfortunately prevailing. Now that gives Acuna more time to rest. So him, and there's a few other guys that I'm targeting now that maybe had some question marks injury wise that I'm willing to take some reaches on.
Yeah, so I do have my own personal rankings set in here, and don't at me on them. These ADPs have been changing so fast that they're a little. Maybe way out of whack, but I did bump up Acuna today. Just, he tore his ACL over decently into the season last year, but not too far in. So he's, with every week of the lockout, he's going to get more time to recover. And I wouldn't expect, it's not like a pitcher coming back from an elbow injury. Yes, Acuna gets some of his value from running. Obviously, you want him at full speed when he comes back to pick up those points from steals. But yeah, the further the start of the season gets pushed back, the more time he gets to get healthy.
Exactly.
I think he's definitely someone you want over Harper at least.
Yeah, I would take Acuna over Harper probably every time now that we have the lockout for sure continuing on. But Harper is obviously still a good pick with these outfielders going as quick as they are. But I've gotten a lot more Garrett Cole lately, I will say. I know another thing that we had talked about was looking at some of the small sample, but still a sample nonetheless of last year's data and seeing that to a bit of what I think are surprises is that the elite studs, taking an elite pitcher paid off. So the opposite of what kind of our thesis is coming into this draft season early is kind of what we saw having a lot of success last year, which I thought was interesting, but also like I wasn't terribly surprised. A lot of my advanced teams were because my pitching was pretty nasty. I'm not sure how you felt about looking at that data. You think is that something that we should take with a pretty big grain of salt now that we have 2 extra roster spots and a flex?
Yeah, so I do like Garrett Cole where he's going. So for my projections for this year, I have been using the Baseball Prospectus Axe tool. So it's an auction valuation tool. So it's interesting. Obviously we're doing a straight draft here, but I input the scoring rules into this system, and it creates an auction value for each player. But what I'm more interested in is the raw projection. But at the same time, the valuation is really interesting.
It's very interesting.
So the way I had it put in, it had Garrett Cole listed as the most valuable player. He's projected in their system, so it uses a 50th percentile outcome. So it has him for like 187 innings pitched and 13 wins. So it's a bit more conservative, but it's really interesting thinking about pitchers and comparing them. So Eric said he compared Eric Manfred said he treats them a bit like running backs. Makes sense with how fragile pitchers are, but then I was thinking about them more, thinking about the complete cream of the crop, top tier guys like a 2021 Travis Kelce or 2020 the season before, where you're at a position that scores less than the other ones, but the fact that you're scoring less doesn't mean that that player is less valuable.
Right.
If you have a 400-point gap with the top pitcher, those points are hard to make up somewhere else. So I think, Garrett Cole's the best bet for that. Jacob deGrom, if he can stay healthy. Which
deGrom scares me. I don't have any deGrom yet.
Guy Phil B says, are we creating our own rankings or using from another site? So I have my own rankings input right now. So I went off a mix of ADP and the projections that I saw on Baseball Prospectus and just my own player takes. But
how far down your ranks do you go until it's just straight ADP?
I have like 450 guys in my rankings.
It's all individually, like in their own place.
It's not nearly as precise once you get down towards the bottom, but I wanted to make sure. So the one thing I noticed when the draft opened is some of these projections are just broken.
Oh, they are.
I wanted to get every single guy that I could think about drafting, at least in my rankings, so I just don't forget about them.
Yeah, no, that's smart. And unfortunately, if you're going to do that with a guy who's way buried, you need to make sure that there's a lot of guys above him, so that way you're not auto drafting him in like 10 rounds early. So that makes sense. I'm probably I would say after like my top 75, it's just straight ADP, just because I personally like to see what I'm assuming most of the room is seeing, which is the underdog ADP. So that way I can then kind of help weigh my decisions as far as like if I want to reach on a guy, or maybe I feel I can wait because maybe he's there on my next turn. So I like to kind of use that as a gauge of what like the public, what my opponents are likely looking at, while also kind of hopping over to some projections if needed as well.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing about setting my own rankings is with the small amount of drafts we have so far, takes a lot of maintenance keeping up with the ADPs. So if I'm forgetting a guy, if you don't see someone, start yelling at me.
Oh yeah. I'll definitely start shouting at you.
I had to jump Buxton way up the boards because he just was not anywhere where I was ever going to take him in my rankings, and now he's
I need to get more of him. I love him as a player, and I don't have nearly. I don't think I have any of him yet, and I probably am about. I think I had 12 drafts completed, 12 fast drafts, with just a slew of slow drafts going too. So I'll definitely need to add him on there because for best ball, he really makes sense. When he's on, he's MVP caliber type of stuff. It's kind of nuts.
When he's on the field, he's on. It's always been the biggest.
That's what I mean. Yeah. That dude might play 60 games, but he's going to start for you every game that he plays.
No. But yeah, talking about those projections, the most egregious one I think out of all of them is Andrew Vaughn, projected for 0.2.
Like, where does that even come from?
I don't know. I have no idea where they get these projections or rankings. Not great. Like, yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with Andrew Vaughn, White Sox top 5 or so dynasty prospect when he was called up. Unfortunately, they have Tony La Russa as their manager. 70 something-year-old dude managing an MLB team in 2022. I don't get it, but yeah, he was playing like Leury Garcia, middle infielders at DH over Vaughn. Just let the dude hit. He's your next Jose Abreu.
Only Tony La Russa could take like the big hot new item in Mercedes and make him want to retire.
Oh my
Like
God.
that was the story of the season, and then Tony La Russa killed his whole vibe, his whole fire to play. It was unreal.
All right.
Hey,
We have filled our draft. Phil B bravely hopping into the bunt. Phil, I know you're a football guy. Thanks for helping us get this show on the road.
love it.
We are
love
picking
it.
out of the 2 spot.
It's the B list influencer 102.
That's right. That's right. That's a bit of a stretch to say B right off the bat, but
Hey, we're shooting high. Our boy knew me up there at the 101. We'll see what he does. See if he's been influenced by Bym for it all. Maybe he'll take Tatis 101 today.
then we have my doppelganger here, Dane, Dayne. I've seen him in a couple drafts before.
Yeah.
All right, 102. Despite the park change, I'm still leaning Vladdy here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he makes sense at the 102. Just you don't. Did he win the Triple Crown last year? Because I know that with obviously Ohtani.
He was 1 home run below.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, but you almost win the Triple Crown, and I mean, still young, so much ahead of him, and his lineup is loaded. So if we are able to stack him, that's terrific. Otherwise, he's going to be in a lot of opportunities to bang home a ton of ribbies.
Shimmy drafts every sport. Yep, definitely a name
he does.
I've seen. Nez, I saw you have a badge. I am still trying to get a badge. I'm not a badge bro yet.
I got the Scarlet badge too, man. The one that lets everybody know this dude is on here all the time. That red boy. I was so excited for that.
What's up, Dark Sheep?
What's going
Dark
on,
Sheep,
brother?
very sharp in the Discord.
Oh yeah, Dark Sheep. If you guys, and I highly recommend, if you guys are new to baseball, I hope you guys get the itch and want to take on some daily contests. There's a lot of fun ways to attack those daily contests. You'll definitely see myself and Dark Sheep in there. Dark Sheep is in there every single day, just killing it. So there's a lot of fun stuff to be had there. You'll definitely be hearing from Dane and I whenever that, fingers crossed, we get baseball games, and then we can start to talk about strategy on how to attack those single game slates, because those are fun because, one, they're easy to max enter because they're usually, last year they were just 6 entries, so not very hard to max enter those and get your full edge, and then just a lot of fun ways to attack those. So yeah, look out for those if we get baseball. That'll be fun.
So I think we'll get baseball at some point this season. But, man, is it going to be ugly. There are going to be a lot of unhappy players. I can tell you that.
100%. And fans. I mean, I'm pretty distraught right now, but I will never for a moment put any ounce of blame on the players because the owners are slimy. They're scummy. They, if you've paid attention to these negotiations, I mean, it's so clear and obvious that these owners do not respect these players. They're not going to give up an inch, $1. I mean, and then sliding in these details at the end and then giving Nightingale all the positive news to break. I mean, it was just a master plan that unfortunately just didn't prevail. And hopefully the owners can stay, or the players rather, can stay strong and hold their ground.
It's ugly. Yeah, I'm a Reds fan.
But it's ugly.
Yeah, watching Bob Castellini put Wade Miley on waivers, just, just the worst. Save the team $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, my team is cheap.
Right. Yeah, the Pirates. Yeah, not a great division there.
Yeah, I mean, the Pirates have their own problems, but I mean, the Reds, they had a nice core. They were playing good baseball, and then they were just like, you know what? Actually, we're not going to spend money now. Like, what? If I was a fan, that would just, oh my God, that would drive me crazy. All right, so DeGrom goes to Paul. We get infield at the 1-2 turn. All right, so we're about 10 picks away here. Yeah, I think it's about time we hit that orange button.
Yep, so hard to pass on Vladdy at 1-2, but that brings up the conundrum of grabbing these outfielders before they disappear. Cedric Mullins had a fantastic breakout year in 2021, but definitely don't like leaning on him as my first outfielder. So hopefully things don't get too ugly by the time we're back on the clock.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely find something to work with. I kind of like this these outfielders that are available to us whenever things come our way. If this isn't going to be a super crazy orange draft, but Kyle Tucker goes, so just kind of hoping we land on him. Do you have a favorite outfielder here that we're looking at?
So I do like the upside of Luis Robert. Just dealt with some injury last year. We could get unique. I'm all for getting unique in best ball.
I have a lot of Robert.
Yep. So thinking about getting unique, I don't think the ADPs matter too much in baseball. So say we were to take Teoscar or George Springer here to stack them up with Vlad Jr., I don't think it's the worst thing in the world.
I think that could be a lot of fun if we were to just go straight Blue Jays here. I will say Teoscar at his price right now is kind of makes me clench my teeth, but like if I had to take him or Springer first, I would take Springer. And like you said, like Robert, I think his upside is, it seems like Robert kind of made a bit of a shift in his plate approach as well, like taking a bit more walks than he was. I have a lot of Robert. I kind of like him.
Let's roll with it. And then obviously, White Sox, good lineup to get exposed to.
Yeah, they're gonna mash in the AL Central. All right, so
getting cute, taking Springer.
Is he watching us?
So I'm not. I wasn't thinking too much about stacks. Drafting my first 10 teams after the discussion in Discord today. I'm a little bit more inclined to draft them, but not something I'm going completely out of my way for if I think there's a player significantly better available, which I think before Teoscar, I'd rather have either of Matt Olson or Shane Bieber. Olson projects fantastically on Baseball Prospectus. So
I love Matt Olson, and as a real life baseball player, no problem taking him. And I'm a little skeevish of Shane Bieber at that price.
Yeah.
I think the regression that we saw from his 2020 season to last year is a bit concerning. I think the raw stuff that he has wasn't enough to kind of keep him at that super elite level that he showed in 2020, where he was just unhittable. So I think I would rather take my shots later at pitcher. So good start here. I like doing this, just going 3 batters to start. That's always where I kind of feel the most comfortable starting out. So when you do this 2-1 here, in the back of your mind, what are you thinking about how many infielders you want to end up with by the end of the draft?
So with infield, because it really depends on how I start my draft. Because we've got Vlad Jr. and Matt Olson, this is looking most likely like a 5 infielder team. What do you think with the start of the draft like this?
Yeah. I think when you get Vlad, Matty as your top 2, you have to think. We always say when discussing draft strategy in NFL, don't draft scared. So drafting as if you're right. So we've got Vlad and Matt Olson here. That is 2 of the infield spots taken up. Now, mind you, we do have a flex, so it's as far as going super crazy on batters, to try to fill that flex spot. But I'm with you. I think if I start 2 batters in the first 3 rounds, I'm more likely than not going 5 batters in that category, unless I get a really nice value in that position with like the 20th or 19th pick that I want to take a 6th position player there.
Yeah, I'm usually not too concerned. Like with my first 8 or so batters, I'm usually not too concerned which position I'm drafting. Obviously, I want to get my outfielders before they all get drafted. But it's a bit like thinking about zero running back in NFL best ball. Like I drafted plenty of teams where I started with 5, 6, 7 wide receivers. Obviously, you have guys that are going to end up on the bench
Mm-hmm.
some week, but you're maximizing the amount of points you're getting at that position. So I don't
Exactly.
have a problem drafting 5 infielders or 5 outfielders before I
Mm-hmm.
end up maxing out the other position.
Part of what makes this so fun is we don't have data to tell us that there's a dead zone, like there is in NFL, where we know there's a running back dead zone and it's real and we can look at win rates for it. Whereas this is still in its infancy and we don't even have a lot of data on stacking. We don't have the data on, hey, don't take pitchers during this round because these, none of that stuff really exists yet. So there's a lot of fun to be had during these drafts where we can really think about different strategies to implement and see, what really becomes the most profitable. So, I like thinking about this stuff at that level.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has the right answer yet.
No, we don't. And that's what's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, they took another. I hate when that happens when you're trying to look at somebody else's team and then a pick is made and then it goes to your team.
Yeah,
I saw you were trying to look at. I think that's Paul.
Yeah, a bit jumpy on desktop, but yeah, Paul took Byron Buxton there in the 3rd, just flying up the board.
I don't think is that where he normally goes? 3rd?
No, he's usually.
I was gonna say
he's usually late 4th if he's 50th ADP right now. We have a very bold pick here to start round 4. 4-1, Salvador Perez.
Oh wow, I love it. I mean, Salvi was awesome last year, but the thing with me is, I'm thinking about the fact that it's best ball and we need to start players over the course of a week. And Salvi started a lot for the Royals. Even if he wasn't catching, he was DHing. It's just something about that catcher position, taking a catcher, you're not likely to get them to be in the lineup every game that they play that week because catchers take a lot of rest. So yeah, a guy like Will Smith and Real Muto and even Yasmani Grandal late in the draft can benefit you and they can put points up for your lineup, some weeks. That's just something that at that draft capital, I'm not looking to take a catcher.
Yeah, for sure. Alrighty, on the clock here.
Brian Reynolds just went. That's a shame. What are you thinking here?
Pirates.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking for stacks. Don't see anything immediately.
Menez.
I think I was keeping that a little bit of a secret. Hopefully I was babbling over you and Numi doesn't see what I was looking at there.
He takes Giolito. I don't have any Giolito yet.
Yeah, I don't think I do either. Let's see here. Coming back on the turn.
Yeah, Paul said he was loving that Perez pick. Took the heat off him. That is awesome. I love when that happens. Maybe Perez goes for 50 home runs and we're the doofuses at the end of it all. Who's to say? So, okay, so we've got your boy. I think, for stack equity, let's put it to practice.
Yep, this is something I missed it in our did a bunt with all the people in the Discord earlier, and I ended up in the same sort of spot where I had Robert on a turn right here, and I took Tyler O'Neill over Eloy. They have like a 7-pick difference at ADP, but I think that's negligible when you're looking at the upside you get in the stack.
Mm-hmm, definitely. I do need to take more O'Neill. I was hoping that his ADP would be a little lower than it is right now. I do have some concerns with O'Neill as well. I mean, a huge swing and miss guy. So I do think that there's going to be some major up and down with that, but otherwise he is like a grown ass man. If you see him on the field, he is a big boy and he's going to match because he's a St. Louis Cardinal and that's what they do. They have devil magic and they call someone up and next thing you know, they're hitting 30 bombs. That's just what they do.
As a Reds fan who's grown up in St. Louis, it's been a very long ride. Getting some Wade Miley slander here in the chat from Dark Sheep. He's a real pitcher's pitcher. Tossing 89 up on the corners. He found a way to get it done last year. He didn't really falter down the stretch. Definitely not a sexy fantasy option, but I think he can eat innings for the Cubs just fine.
Nothing against Wade Miley and his accomplishment for throwing a no-no, but I mean, he really did a lot of damage to what the no-no means to people by him throwing one. I mean, at this point, people might not even be turning on games when someone's got a no-no in the 9th because it's just like, oh, what do you know? Another no-hitter.
They need to bring back the Domino no. Did you ever participate in the free pizza promo?
This sounds very, very familiar, but I don't remember actually taking part of it, which is strange because I am a Domino's fanatic.
Oh yeah. So back in the day, it was like the early like 2012 was probably 2013 when I was in high school. I'm a young guy, but yeah, when it would be the day after they throw someone in the MLB threw a no hitter, you could go get a free medium pizza from Domino's.
Yeah, I think that they would go they would sell out like crazy, right? I mean, people would go nuts for them. I remember.
Yeah, much better than the free steal a taco deal during the World Series. Give me
Right?
a free pizza.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna drive all the way to my nearest Taco Bell for a 190 calorie taco. Give me the pizza. Give me a meal, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Anyways, so we've got at the 1-2 turn here, Tim Anderson goes. I don't have a ton of Tim Anderson either. That's usually around the spot where I'm taking a pitcher or an outfielder at his price. Is that a bit of a reach by our guy?
I don't think so. Let me look. I think I can see the ADP like this.
You can.
Okay, Tim Anderson, 64. No, so not much of a reach at all there.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's a bit of a blind spot for me. There's
very infield heavy for that team on the turn. That's 5 for him.
Yeah. At that point, that's he just drafted his bench spot right there. That's what I find that to be. I find that tough. Once I have 4 of a position, like infield or outfield, to then take like a 5th one before I even have like my 3rd starter at another position. For me, that's tough. Unless it's outfield, I could do that with outfield because of how thin it is, like we talked about. But that's bold. That is bold. But we'll see.
I don't hate it so long as he's done drafting infielders, I think.
Right. Yeah, that has to be. You have to be done.
Alrighty. So this is where I've been drafting a lot of 0 pitcher teams, and at the start of these drafts, I was fine taking 4 hitters before I draft a pitcher. Lately, I've been starting to grab a pitcher here in the 6th or 7th, get my pseudo ace, get some guaranteed points there. But looking at who's available,
your boy Castillo just goes.
Yeah, I'm not the high guy on Dylan Cease. I can tell you that.
No, I cannot. That ADP. I'm sorry. Like I know he is a super talented guy. That ADP for me is just kind of nuts.
The control is my biggest issue.
Okay, so we talked to Cattell earlier today.
Yeah, in Discord.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to personally if you were asking for my input to lay off Cattell here or Freddie.
Okay, yeah, I'll go my personal guy here on the turn, Freddie Peralta. I think the Brewers just fantastic at developing pitchers. So pseudo pitcher, there goes Cattell on the turn, so not getting Cattell. Yeah. But
I mean, Freddie's slider is just amazing too. It's a lot of fun to watch if you're invested in him too. So that's fun. Okay, so let's see here. We can kind of take anybody we want right now.
Looking at Winker in India, probably as the batters. I think.
So Verlander projects super well. I don't know if you've seen that, and it's weird to me. I don't love it.
I'm putting India in the queue, running out of time.
Get your guy. Yeah, get your Reds.
I don't. So that's the thing. I'm not like super high on Jonathan India for fantasy or anything.
Me neither, man. Me neither.
He didn't go crazy in the minor leagues. He didn't have the greatest prospect profile coming up, but he just got it done. The lineup is not going to be as good this year. Castellanos is definitely signing somewhere else. Whispers of the Reds trading.
And who knows what happens to Votto?
I think he had a really, really smart change with his approach last year to where he didn't sell out on taking walks. He still drew a bunch of walks. He just sold out on making sure he makes contact. So looking at his baseball savant page, he was still like 97th percentile in walk rate, but his whiff rate,
of course,
dropped a lot. But his chase rate was still elite. He's not swinging at bad pitches. He just doesn't quite have the physical skills that he used to have, and started swinging for the fences, and it played really well for him last year.
Yeah, that resurgence, I can't help but kind of take some pause to that, especially just because like I keep coming back to ADP, but I mean for the price you got to pay to get, hey, can Joey Votto do it again at his big age? with a depleted lineup, not a depleted lineup, but a less than what was last year. To me, that's somebody that I'm probably going to pass on a lot this summer.
I have taken a couple shares of Votto, and as his ADP, so it's easy to take him after ADP. People don't like taking the old guys in best ball. See Bobby Witt Jr.'s ADP is in the 130s. Hasn't got a single AB yet.
I'm going to be taking him though, to be honest. If he falls, I usually pass ADP, but I like Bobby Witt, man. I'm sorry. But that's a good example. I mean, he hasn't taken a single AB, and he's up there. But people are very excited about him, and I think he's going to be up relatively quickly.
I think Joey Votto could be a sort of Brandon Cooks of fantasy baseball. The old guy that you don't want to pick.
Yeah, the Frank Gore, Brandon Cooks, but he's consistent. So, and we've got India, so definitely something to keep in the back pocket. Can we go to pitchers here and scroll down? I want to kind of see because we at some point got to turn the purple button on. And all right, so I see some good value here.
So I have Erod, Charlie Morton, a lot lower than their ADPs.
I just moved Erod up actually because I don't really like to click. I didn't like clicking on him either, and I did a little bit of a dive into that, and we kind of talked in the Spike Week Discord as well about his change to parks and change of divisions. I think is going to make a really big difference for him, and it's somebody that I've started to click on a little bit more as like my third or fourth starter. I may cool off because I'm with you. I'm not the biggest fan of his, but I think that those changes are not something to take lightly.
So great. Yeah. Thanks for helping me out here, Dark Sheep. But definitely appreciate being on a stream with someone else where I get exposed to some of these takes and the reasoning for guys that normally I wouldn't be interested in drafting. So yeah, it's definitely a reason to move Erod.
I might need you. You're kind of on the Rhys Hoskins bandwagon, right?
Yes.
I might after we make these two picks because we're coming up here and we're look pretty active at this point in the draft. I might need you to explain that one to me a little bit, man.
Okay. So kind of up on the turn, have 3 of each hitter. Still have room for a flex bat in the lineup. Looking at pitchers here. There goes Rodon.
I would not be opposed to taking one of these top 5 guys. This is a pretty good little stretch of pitching here. And if we want to start to kind of put together like a nice little rotation, or at least, a top 2, we can certainly do that with these guys.
So I think I'm good with you, Darvish, here. Just consistent innings. He's getting old, so maybe an injury concern, but he doesn't stress himself out too much. I don't think. And
I would take him.
There's win upside, with being on the Padres.
Right, and definitely, and it boosts his quality start projection now that the DH is going to happen if we get baseball. So that is a big boost to the NL guys. You can kind of take them without having to feel too bad about it. So Verdugo goes. That seems new to me. I don't know that I'm taking Verdugo that early, but I'm taking Conforto over Verdugo 10 times out of 10 personally. What are you thinking here? Are we going Rhys? If we go Rhys, I'm making the next 2 picks. I'm just telling you.
Do we? I don't see any great stacks here, but I'm plugging in Rhys. So what is? All
right. So
the guy. What's the case against
please? I think Rhys Hoskins is just a little bit overrated, and I thought he was pretty fairly priced at where he was. His lineup, his team isn't anything special. I think they're a 500 team in a pretty good pitching division. They got to face the Mets a lot, who really bolstered up their pitching. And mostly, I just see you and the other guys getting real high on Hoskins, and I'm just not catching the fever. So.
So let me pull up baseball prospectus here. I have, let's see, the Axe. I I think there's a pretty easy way to get pulled up.
So Numi's in the chat saying Verdugo a slam dunk. I don't know about a slam dunk, but I do think Verdugo is very consistent, and I do like to take him in managed leagues. He seems to slip quite a bit in managed league ADP, and he's a guy that you won't ever drop, and he's like a cool 280. Not a ton of power, but plays for the Red Sox. So, I had a lot of him last year because he was going really low last year. So Dark Sheep says Reese Hoskins is a god. Simple and done. All right, I'm sold. Let's get him in the first. Let's see if we can bump his ADP to the first.
These are the projections I use. This is Underdog scoring through Pacoda. So Pacoda is the system that Baseball Prospectus has. It's been graded as one of the best projection systems. It's very accurate. And just looking at the raw point projection, these are 50th percentile projections. We see Matt Olson up here, guy I like a lot, and then Reese Hoskins is a top 15 or so projection here.
What are they? Can you after we pick, I would like to just see what his 50th percentile projections are, because damn, that is very, very.
So we're 14 picks away here. So 50th percentile, they have him for.
Can you scroll up a little bit? Our heads are kind of like blocking him a little bit.
Okay. Right. Okay. So
perfect. Okay.
Hoskins got him for 33 dingers, 93 RBIs.
Do they show his triple slash by chance?
No. These are just.
We'd have to calculate that ourselves. Okay.
That's.
Damn. 33 dingers, they think. Well, okay. All right. Okay. I'll get him up there.
It's just merely a projection, guy. I don't have any real personal takes on him, but I plugged in the numbers. My guys at Baseball Prospectus think that he's going to put up some good numbers, and I'm not going to argue with it.
Let me see what some of the other stuff on Fangraphs has for him as we approach our next pick. What are you thinking here as far as the needs for this team now?
So we're kind of completely all over the place with bats. No real stacks here. We got the two White Sox. As we can see here, outfield is dried up.
I take Conforto and Nimmo, I think, every single time I draft. I cannot get off them right now.
Well, there goes Conforto. So, Phil B.
There you go, Phil.
Watching the stream.
Thanks, Free game, baby.
Okay, so I think this is a good spot to probably double tap pitchers. There's a lot of interesting bats towards the end of the draft that I like taking shots on. So we got our 7 here. Hopefully they stay healthy. But what do you think of these pitchers? Do you have any personal?
I like Herman Marquez in best ball. I like the fact that, we don't have – because we're right now – I mean, chances are with this team, we're probably going to be taking a lot of pitchers. We're going to get somebody to cover the games where he is in Colorado and maybe facing the Dodgers. But away from home and even at home, he's still fine. I just think he's a really, really good pitcher that because he plays in the Rockies, everybody's scared to take him. But in best ball, you only get his good starts, and his good starts are phenomenal. So big fan of Marquez. I like where you have him ranked in your rankings.
Yep, I've been a big fan of Marquez. Can't wait for him to get out of Colorado one day, hopefully. So Zach Gallen is another guy I like a lot. The only question is he going to get Tommy John? He finished the season healthy last year, but he was dealing with elbow.
Is he a candidate for it?
He was dealing with elbow injuries during last season. He started up real late, finished the season healthy. The upside, he has ace level upside. But there's injury risk there. I think because of the volume we're going to end up taking.
I'm a Gallen guy.
Okay. I think because of the volume we're going to end up taking at pitcher, I think we can take more of the injury risk there with Gallen over a safer pick like Tyler Mahle or Chris Bassett, where you're not getting that true ace upside.
Yeah, I think these are the type of bets that you need to make in best ball, especially if you're volume drafting like we are, where you and I are going to be drafting a ton of teams. And as we build these teams, we really need to think about what it takes to win. And what it takes to win is you are in a 2-week contest against everybody else who advanced, who probably has a lot of the same players you have rather. And so you want you want these guys that can score a lot in a short period of time. And so a guy like Gallen, his upside is extremely high. Marquez, I don't know the playoff schedule yet, but I mean, opportunity there for him to kind of show out. So you need to take, if you are trying to win the whole thing, you really got to get uncomfortable and be comfortable getting uncomfortable and taking these risks and taking guys like Gallen, who maybe has a question mark, but hey, maybe he puts it together and he's fine.
Yep. And then talking about the winning those 2-week playoff stretches too. That's another reason I like this zero pitcher sort of approach is
right.
Maxing out as many good to start guys as you can, guys that end up in the favorable matchups in that stretch. So that's why I like shoring up my hitters early, excuse me, taking bets on my hitters to stay healthy, do what they're supposed to do. The hitters in this format, they do score more than the pitchers. It's just the way the scoring's set up. But I like taking my stands early on those guys and then trying to get more of those dart throws to be correct when I need them, with like taking backup running backs, you're hoping for they get the opportunity to produce when you need them. And with the pitchers, you're hoping that one, they outperform their ADP just based on skill level, and two, you're getting preferable matchups when you need them the most in the playoffs.
Exactly. Just trying to maximize your chances of a 2-start week. It makes a lot of sense in theory. So we'll see how it goes out in practice. I will say in my semifinals pod of the Dinger last year, it was very eye-opening to see how many people were taking, in last year, 18 roster spots. I saw a lot of guys taking 7 to 9 pitchers last year in that pod, and that was like a light bulb moment for me seeing that, because I wasn't really doing that at all. So while we see in our early data of the small sample size that there was some really good luck with really good results rather with taking pitchers early, I think a lot can kind of go into that. And I think another thing with last year as well, that drafting environment was very unique because we had just came off a 60-game season. And there was, in that little sample size, we had a lot going on that was really strange. And I think that smart drafters were able to take advantage of it. Like Brian Reynolds was going super late last year because he had that down 60-game skid. And he came out and was phenomenal, one of the best outfielders in the game last year. And then on the flip side, we're looking at the Mets, who had a really odd 2020, but had guys with really high WRC pluses, and Nimmo was hurt all year. Conforto was kind of hurt up and down. They didn't really kind of pan out. So I think there was a lot, that short sample size kind of really played with ADP in the draft environment last year.
Yep. And man, you Pirates fans just can't let go of Brian Reynolds.
Bruh, Brian Reynolds is the truth. He's the truth. And I tell you what, if you see anybody talking about hypothetically I think this team can get Brian Reynolds, let's just trade him our number 10 prospect and then maybe our number 20 prospect. No, get the fuck out. Absolutely not happening. And if Brian Reynolds is traded, Dan, you're going to need to do a wellness check on me, brother. I'm just telling you. It's going to be a bad day if that happens, but hopefully not. Let's not talk about it. All right, we're about to come back up here. Pitchers, I see a few here that I would maybe consider. But what else we got position wise?
I think I'll queue up Luis Garcia here just because, man, hitters in this range, I'm not in love with any of them. Justin Turner, I think he's a good buy low candidate, another old guy that people aren't interested in drafting just based on, not a sexy pick.
Yeah, I love Justin Turner.
What was that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong with Garcia taking an Astros pitcher. A lot of high likelihood of getting a good amount of wins there. Anytime he's got a quality start, he's probably getting a win there as well. Okay. I'm like I said, big Nemo guy. Dark Sheep is also a Mark Canna guy. I do love Mark Canna as well. Not to diminish him and put him down, but I just think Nemo, as far as the real baseball goes, is probably going to get more playing time than Canna just because he's younger and he's going to be more valuable on defense. But I think either of those guys are going to be DH options for the Mets, unless they're. I could see Dom Smith doing some DHing as well. Okay,
Isn't Nimmo a pretty big platoon guy though?
Nimmo projects really, really highly right now. I don't know if you saw he's projecting for like a 120 WRC plus, but I like Brantley too, bro. If you want to do it.
Let's go Nimmo. He's been the talk of the chat, so entertain the people. But yeah, Nimmo's a left-handed bat? Doesn't he have pretty bad splits versus lefties? I mean,
there's not a lot of lefties that really dominate lefties well, but I mean 2021, man, 90 games with a 137 WRC plus. I mean, gets on base a ton. I mean, a 400 OBP with a 437 slugging with a lineup that just added Mark Canna, Starling Marte. I mean, they're a really good lineup. I'm pretty high on Nimmo.
Okay, and yeah, they're. Let me look at the rest of the Mets.
Yeah, I love that we can search like that.
Yeah, I know Conforto and Nimmo are pretty easy to stack together.
Well, Conforto's a free agent, I believe.
Oh, true. So, but yeah, Nimmo and Canna too.
Yeah, no one's really trying to click on Canna. Canna had a really, really solid first half last year, and then kind of tailed off and became pretty average. His OPS ended up falling below 800 by the time the year ended. I think it was even like 750, but a good guy to have in best ball, I think, especially now that we have Brandon Nimmo. So something to keep in mind. What are you thinking here as we kind of look at some guys?
Just looking at the Mets, Eduardo Escobar is just a
New York
anomaly, a really weird guy who came out and hit 30 home runs last year.
Right, but I like him offensively. I mean, just a really solid guy that no one really wants to click on, like you said. As we get late in these drafts here, there's a lot of value to be had at infield.
Yeah, 220 ADP, basically free.
Yeah, no, I mean, he will go undrafted.
So, looking at the team right now,
really solid.
I think 5. So, man, I don't love the Jonathan India pick there, but we are plus EV streamers to draft against. Too busy talking to figure out who I want to actually pick.
Hey, that's your boy. That's your Reds.
Yeah. So I think I'm still fine taking the 5 infielders.
Yeah, I think that's fine because I mean, if you scroll up, we've got Vlad, Olsen. I mean, those guys, if they're not starting for us every week, then this team's more likely than not dead.
Yeah.
I mean, we spent high capital on them. We expect them to be very good. So, you just got to think about these things and how if things go wrong, like don't think about if things go wrong. Think about if things go right and what you need to then go right. So if this, then what? So now what we need is, we can probably chill a little bit on the infielders, but then again, we also have this flex position. So I think the number of infielders we take will really depend on what kind of pitchers fall to us. So I do want to ask you, so after Nimmo went Michael Kopech, I'm probably saying his last name wrong, but I'm a big Kopech guy. What are your thoughts on Mike Kopech? Are you laying off him?
I've been mostly avoiding him. I think I took him one time in 10 drafts so far. Just the fact that
I wish he was going
White Sox are working on making him a starter. He was a starting pitching prospect, and then he struggled with his control in the bigs, and they put him in the bullpen, and he really succeeded there. The massive reliever risk with him is the reason why I'm not comfortable potentially burning one of my picks in the teens on a guy that ends up being a reliever.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. That's some pretty high capital for a guy who might not start, but
if things work for Kopech and he ends up showing the stuff that he has in the bullpen as a full-time starter, then he's a top 15 pitcher probably. But I think the far more likely outcome is he probably ends up back in the bullpen. That's where I've been leaning, but I definitely see the case for taking him where he's going. Just the sky high upside.
Mm-hmm. So, can you go orange for me real quick?
Okay.
Okay, so Canna's still here. That's just like an interesting pick. Some of these Baltimore guys have been growing on me. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to click on them besides Mullins, who is a G. But like Santander and Austin Hayes. I mean, if you look at his stats last year, like if you were to tell me how many home runs you think Austin Hayes had last year, I guarantee you probably would not. Didn't he have like 30?
He got up there. He was at 26. But yeah, the Orioles, interesting young team because they have Mancini and Mountain Castle in the infield as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
so I like Canna, and I also like maybe Jordan Montgomery here.
Okay. So I'm going to take Canna here, get our little back end Mets stack there, cool. The mini stack. Pitchers.
Logan Gilbert goes. That's a good pick there. I wasn't on Jordan Montgomery to start, and then the Spike Week Discord got me more on him, and now I'm kind of a believer in Jordan Montgomery.
He's I had him on, so I have one. My main fantasy baseball team is a pretty competitive 15-team keeper league. Nice. And Montgomery is pretty good at eating innings. Definitely doesn't have the upside of, let's say, if Luis Severino comes back healthy and shows the top 3 Cy Young stuff that he had in 2019. That's the only thing there is we're locking down some innings with Jordan Montgomery, getting near guaranteed production rather than taking a shot there on the upside pick with Severino. So yeah. I think if we're going to end up taking 8-9 pitchers, I think it's good to have a mix of those guys.
Definitely. Yeah, a little mix of like good floor with high risk, high reward guys. Absolutely, that is how you should be kind of looking at this. And Montgomery to me, his projections are pretty solid, and I'm a sucker for a nasty changeup, and Jordan Montgomery has a pretty nasty one. So just something fun to watch whenever you got a guy that you're a part of. So yeah, Kopech. I didn't realize that forgot about that he was out for that part of the year. So it'll be interesting. I mean, he's nasty, so it's just a matter of him putting it together. But I think your counterpoint about him being risky at his ADP, 100%. He's definitely not a value, and I would maybe wait for that ADP to fall.
And then I've seen a lot of talk about the White Sox wanting to trade Craig Kimbrell. Like, if you're taking both Kimbrell and Kopech out of that bullpen, they still have Liam Hendricks, but
yeah, they after that, I mean, they almost like need him to be that high leverage guy after that, unless they make a splash, which I don't even know what else they could at that point.
Well, so I know that Rodon is a free agent, so don't know if he goes back to the White Sox.
I could see them being cheap and then that I guess that could be, hey, well, why bring back Rodon? We can use Kopech and we still have them, pre-arbitration, so.
Boy, would it be nice if we fucking knew what these teams were going to do.
Holy shit, right?
Man.
That's the beauty of it, that was the thesis of the Dustin May play last year, I mean, I was taking him all the time last year before it was still up in the air if he was going to be a starter or not. I'm like, have you guys seen Dustin May pitch? Like 98 cutter, 98 like sinker with like a really nice breaking ball. I'm like, Dustin May is going to start, and he did start, and he was really good before he got hurt, unfortunately. So I'm still bitter.
So what do you feel more comfortable drafting? February NFL best ball or mid-lockout MLB best ball?
Definitely football, man. I got to be honest. It's kind of whenever this draft first started and like negotiations were going well, oh my god, I was like, let's get after it, let's go. Now that the lockout is here, it's definitely a bit of a buzzkill. I don't have the fire to kind of wait for a draft to fill and spend an hour doing a fast draft. So instead, I'm doing the slow drafts, taking it real easy, giving myself time to look up some guys and give some more thought. Even though the fast draft is probably where you get the most edge for if you know what you're doing. But that's just kind of the approach I've taken.
Man, it's a bummer.
It's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, it's such a failure on their part to. I mean, COVID, there wasn't much they can do about that. But in 3 years, only one full season. I mean, that's just a failure.
No. All righty, but let's look at the positives here. We're about to be on the clock. So 5 outfielders. I think a 6 would be all right. Robert.
I would go 6 here because we have Stanton, who is very injury prone. So
and Robert and Eloy were both hurt last year as well.
Yeah, that Eloy thing was freak, but I don't like Rosario. I will tell you that off top. I'm not a big Rosario guy, but I think Vaughn for the White Sox stack, King Vaughn, potentially.
So maybe we think about that a hitter going back. I'm not sure.
Vaughn will probably be there later. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if taking 3 guys from the same team at the same position starts to get negative EV. But I do like Casey Mize as a pitcher here.
We have that flex spot, but I'm with you. I'm with you on Mize. I think Mize is awesome at his price right now. He's probably going to pitch more innings than he did last year, and the reason I say that is because they were kind of curbing him and Scooball last year. Toward the end of the year, they were purposefully shortening their innings, so that should boost his projections. And I mean, former top 3 prospect. There's a lot to like about Mize, and where he's going, I just think is a little silly considering that he showed some promise last year. He wasn't overpowering, didn't K a ton of guys, but had a really nice stretch there for a little bit for the Tigers.
Yeah, his baseball savant page is not really pretty. Guys touched him up a bit last year, and as a bit of a sinker baller, like splitter guy, he might not be the K machine that we wanted out of him based on the minor league numbers. Maybe he was just that much more polished to be able to dominate the minor leaguers, where he might not miss as many bats in the bigs, but definitely a good innings guy.
Yeah. So let's take a look here now.
Shoot. Nothing immediately jumping out at me, which I don't love.
Okay, so this is the 17th round here.
Yes.
I'm thinking pitcher, and I do like Pivetta. I like Tyon, and Mats. I could see Mats doing well because Cardinals double magic, and I know we like Kikuchi.
Let me queue up Pivetta. Okay.
All right. Have you taken him a lot?
No, just when I need him. I didn't love Pivetta at all. Was not on him at all last year.
I'm sure you were like in the fantasy community where he was like the darling for like 5 straight years and just never panned out, right? And then last year
just could never throw enough strikes.
Yeah. And then last year kind of finally put it together with the Red Sox. And I could see that I'm going to probably attribute that to the Red Sox. And, he has some nice stuff. So, and they just lost Erod. So he's definitely going to start for them. So.
Yeah. But that was another one where I was just running out of time. Just at the top of the board, queue him up. That's all right. I see Joe Adell goes there 2 picks later. I do like taking a shot on the former 80 grade dynasty prospect.
Dude, right? Like, holy crap, did his stock fall?
Yeah, I mean, he really has struggled for.
Oh yeah, I mean, for good reason.
It's almost a full season's worth of games at this point. But
I'm off him this year. I will be proudly 0% exposed to Joe Adell.
I've been taking the shot because I mean
it's 20 rounds. I mean, it can't hurt. I'm not going to fault you.
I think right now he maybe a similar sort of career path as Byron Buxton, where this is not like the Victor Robles or Lewis Brinson, where they were like a top 15 sort of guy,
right? Like 80 grade speed.
Joe Adell was the guy. Byron Buxton was the guy. The tools are there if he could just somehow start making
the ball better, something. There goes Vaughn. But I think we got another. If you wanted to take a White Sox, I mean, because I know that you worried about taking 3 of the same position, but we do have that flex spot, something to consider. And there is another White Sox player that we can take if we want to.
Gavin Sheets. Not so.
Gavin Sheets,
he's one that we can think out at in the 20th round at least with that ADP.
Oh yeah, I mean, and he's buried, and he really shouldn't be. He's pretty nice. Like when he does play in that huge lineup. I know lineup protection is something that may or may not exist, but I mean, when you're in a lineup with Robert, Anderson, Moncada, all those guys ahead of you or around you, I mean, he's going to have good opportunities to score some runs, knock in some ribbies, and just a pretty big fan of his. So something to consider.
Okay, but yeah, with the 239 ADP, I think we can still.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just something to keep in mind, since I know we were kind of talking about stacks. But so for pitchers, we've got 8 pitchers, and I think we can probably turn off the purple button for the rest of the draft, unless you want to take a 9th.
Looking at the 8 I've got, yeah, I think that's fine. When I first started, I was taking 9 in most drafts, but the pitchers score less than the batters. Yes, covered this. But there's only 3 pitcher spots.
Exactly, right? And we've got 7 batters to fill.
Right. So you're walking a bit of a tightrope when you're only taking 10, 11 cumulative.
And Peralta, we can kind of make the assumption he's going to start for us almost every week. So really, it's 2 pitchers. We need 2 out of 7 guys to be, okay.
Man, these guys are not making it easy on us. We're already almost back on the clock.
I know, dude, they're zooming. So, all right. If you don't have anything in mind, I can try to.
What are you thinking?
Outfield is gross outside. Like, I like Jock Peterson a little bit. I like McCutcheon a little bit, and Pollock a little bit. But Candelario, I think, is a very interesting pick. I was a really big fan of his before he kind of broke out last year. So I think that's a good bet. Now the Detroit team is kind of trying to make themselves a little bit more of a serious team with signing Javi Baez and bringing in Eduardo Rodriguez. So I like that pick.
Okay. And yeah, he had 44 doubles last year. I think that was the league lead. If not, he was leading the league in doubles for the longest time last year. But yeah,
good to know. We like extra base hits.
Shoot. Okay. Man, this is getting nerve-wracking now.
So what are we? We're at 855, correct?
855, yeah. We waited a bit to get our outfielders. Our infielders are definitely stronger than our outfielders, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably shoot for somebody in the outfield, but I will say infielders. I love O'Neal Cruz, Pirates fan here, but O'Neal Cruz has some elite power, and he will be playing every day for the Pirates.
I like it. I don't care about the ADP there. This is a guy with rookie of the year.
Last 2 picks, yeah. He's been going before I can take him in some drafts, actually.
Yeah, that is 100% fine with me. Yeah, 6'7" shortstop can hit absolute bombs. Just freak athlete. I like making that bet there.
Yeah, he's a unicorn, and he's going so late. Like, he's gonna hit 20 home runs at least, and he's got speed. I mean, love. He's a guy that I'm gonna be heavily exposed to this season.
Are you concerned at all about swing and miss profile if the hit tool is gonna carry over?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a problem for sure. But I think, thankfully, there's a lot of guys in today's league who can swing and miss and still be very, very productive. Tyler O'Neill, Joey Gallo, that's, very high. That's a high ceiling to have to hit. But I think with the fact that he is just such a ridiculous athlete that if he puts the bat on the ball sometimes, then it's gonna outweigh all that swing and miss stuff. But he's gonna have some ugly stretches, no doubt.
Yeah, as a Reds fan, I'm just thinking of Jose Barrero and how he's struggled to date in his career. Similar, so O'Neill is definitely the better prospect. Barrero is still a top 100 sort of guy. May have been rushed a bit by the Reds to get there, but just hoping that. Do you think he's the opening day, whenever opening day is? Do you think he's their shortstop to start the year?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Bob Nutting is a soulless son of a bitch, but I really would be surprised if O'Neill is not there opening day. I mean, they brought him up for like 3 games last year, like just for like that last series, and I mean, it brought fans into the game. It got people excited. He has no business being in AAA.
For sure.
None.
For sure. Do they have?
But service time is a real thing.
What's their
Go ahead.
middle infield situation like?
So second base is kind of a revolving door. I'm pretty sure. I think we have like Tucapita Marcano potentially playing at second base. But shortstop was Kevin Newman. So Kevin Newman is a guy with an elite contact profile. Like, I'm not even joking. This dude can swing with his eyes closed and put the bat on the ball, but he has no power. Absolutely no power. Pretty good defender. Former lover Keith Law used to love Kevin Newman. Hilarious. But anyways, it's not very tough. It's not going to be hard for him to beat him out. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is on the Pirates, and he's immediately the second best hitter on the team. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Gotcha. Yeah, so hopefully no service time manipulation.
And and like Dark Sheep said, I mean, when you compare Bobby Witt to O'Neal, I mean, yeah, Witt is the better prospect as far as, you know, scouting and all that and performance, but they could play the same amount. I mean, I think Cruz's path to playing time is a lot less of a uphill battle than Witt's, even though Witt is incredible. I mean, Adalberto Mondesi, you know, Whit Merrifield, Nicky Lopez, they got a nice infield in Kansas City. So Witt is definitely going to have to ball out to stay up and stay as a starter.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember if like Adam Frazier was still there.
No. So he got traded to the Padres, and then he got traded to the Mariners.
Right. Okay. Do you want my Mr. Irrelevant YOLO 20th round pick here?
Of course. Let's hear it.
Stack him up with Jonathan India. This is a year Nick Senzel stays healthy and finally does something. Jonathan India is who Nick Senzel was supposed to be.
Right. Like, I was so excited for Nick Senzel in fantasy. I had him as soon as I saw it was his call-up day. I was so pumped. I was not excited as a Pirates fan, but as a fantasy baseball player, hell yeah, bring him on. You know, I love being on the prospects before somebody else is. And yeah, just unfortunately hasn't been able to put that together at all.
He's just had the weirdest injury history. Like, he was dealing with vertigo. He's missed time with vertigo.
Yeah, what the hell?
There was a rift between him and like maybe the medical staff or something with a knee procedure that he ended up waiting on getting. But yeah, so if Senzel can stay healthy, I think there's definitely upside there. He'll have the playing time opportunity with Castellanos leaving town. There's a spot to fill there in the outfield.
Who was the other Reds prospect that was like sort of like Nick Senzel, kind of around the same time, but just I think they might have even released him for the Reds. It was like 2 years ago. He came up and people were really excited about him. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Would it be like Alex Blandino, maybe? I'm not sure.
Shoot, I forget. It'll come to me later, and I'll have to text it to you. But yeah, let's take a look at how we ended up here.
Yes, so not quite sure the best way to view teams on desktop.
Yeah, we ended up right there. It's fine.
Okay, so 866. I like our pitchers. I think this is a structure that I'm starting to lean towards.
866 is really attractive to me.
Yeah, I started going 9, but I like starting in this Freddie Peralta sort of tier, and getting your at least one real stud that you can count on at pitcher, and then getting your dart throws for the rest of the guys. So
yeah,
I like the staff here.
Same. Yeah, I think we got some really good dart throws here. Yu Darvish, I think, has an opportunity to pay off his ADP like extremely well. That was somebody that was like a bona fide ace not too long ago, and just didn't have a great year. And nobody on the Padres really had a great year. So I could see that being somebody that pays off huge dividends for us. And then Luis Garcia, the young guy, Montgomery. I mean, these are just guys that, like you said, just dart throws. But the thesis behind all of them is pretty strong. So I like the staff a lot.
Yeah, it's a good mix of the floor with a guy like Jordan Montgomery or Nick Pivetta. You know, even Herman Marquez. We've seen what they can do, and then you have guys like Zach Gallen and Casey Mize, where if Gallen is healthy, he has the ace upside. If Mize continues to develop as a pitcher, he's got the ace upside. So I definitely like this mix here.
Yeah, we could get a lot of quality starts potentially from Mize.
Looking at the bats, we have 6 infielders. Vlad Jr., not much to say about that. Matt Olson, projects really well through Baseball Prospectus. Potential trade candidate.
40 home runs last year. Yeah. Also potential trade candidate, so he could end up in a better situation potentially. Because Oakland is fine, but he could be in a lot of better parks if a team decided to trade for him.
We got Jonathan India, sort of do-it-all guy that came out of nowhere last year, hoping he carries that momentum. Definitely hurts losing Castellanos in that lineup, and then Tucker Barnhart to a degree as well, where the rest gave him
definitely.
away. So Stevenson will get more ABs, but definitely would like to know that the Reds are going to be competitive. Man, that's so Rhys Hoskins too. So these are my two big projection guys, Matt Olson and Rhys Hoskins. I'm happy to have them on any team.
Yeah, no, that's awesome infield.
Did you find any projections on Hoskins? I know you were looking for it.
Yeah. Everybody's got him just like Prospectus. They got him up there pretty high. So Zips has him projected for 125 WRC plus. The Bat X has him for 130. Steamer has him for 122, so they're the lowest on him at a 122 WRC plus. The Bat has him projected for 35 home runs. So I mean, some pretty solid projections on him, and he's not. I mean, he's a good player. I mean, that slugging speaks for itself, year over year. So we'll see. He kind of had a down year last year, so it could just be recency bias for me. I like the bet on Hoskins.
Apologies to everybody. Pacoda's a little slow to load because
ton of data in Pacoda, so understandable.
So, and Baseball Prospectus uses deserved runs created. So similar metric, they have him at 119 for his 50th percentile. But the way the fantasy points project puts him way up the board. So, and then here, we see the fun 99.
I love looking at the 99 percentile.
Yeah, 50 home runs. I'll take that.
Could you imagine? God, Bryce Harper, who?
But yeah, so just two guys that project well there. Baseball, definitely not a sport where you should only draft by projection, but still, at someone like Rhys Hoskins, where this is just the source that I'm using, his projection based on where he's being drafted, that's a good tiebreaker for me. And then to round out the infielders, Jeimer Candelario. Not an exciting pick there, but definitely a good source of consistent production. Maybe the Tigers call up Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, and they get, because they have Javi Baez now too. Maybe the offense takes a bit of a step forward, and some of these doubles start maybe clearing
with some ribbies too.
Yeah, maybe start driving some people in, and then potential NL Rookie of the Year, O'Neal Cruz.
Love that. I love that.
Definitely like that pick. In the outfield, we have Luis Robert, Giancarlo Stanton, Eloy Jimenez. Not much to say about that except for hope they stay healthy and
dongs galore.
Lots of dongs. Hopefully, I don't know what the heck happened to the Yankees last year. Their lineup.
Oh my gosh.
I was playing DFS and that got pretty frustrating after a while. Just
right. It's like. Yeah. You guys are good. Like the sum of your parts is outstanding. Just please, just get it together. It was so weird. It was, that was strange. But this is a really, really solid outfield, in my opinion. I think Canna super solid. Like I said, big fan of Nimmo, and then getting that White Sox stack, and then having Stanton. When Stanton's healthy, I mean, he can just absolutely be a game breaker. So. Really like how this team landed, very well rounded, and the 866 I can already tell that's probably going to be my most drafted structure.
Yep, looking at the outfielders that didn't get drafted, there's not a lot left here.
Dude, there's not at all. No. Like Pavin Smith, maybe, but I don't want Pavin Smith on my team. I don't want to look at his headshot. And then like. Jarren Duran, Randall Grichuk, I guess. Like, yeah, dude. Like at this point, at the end of the draft, there's Chad Pinder is cool. Not not even like, oh wow, we missed him. Like, no, there's nothing left.
No, this is definitely a spot where I'd rather take a shot.
It's bleak.
Yeah, I'd rather take a lottery ticket pick there if I'm taking a 20th round outfielder.
Yeah,
Which
Senzel. Yeah,
Senzel is like half of a
I think
lottery
it'd be.
ticket.
I
He's a
think it'd be
lottery
fun
ticket you
if
found
you
in the
want to.
garbage.
Yeah, if we have a second before we depart, I would like to see Senzel's 99th percentile so we can dream what we might
Oh
get.
my goodness. I
Is it
think
like
maybe even the projection
50
system
stolen
giving up
bases?
on him.
Like, what are they? Or even is even the 99th percentile one pretty modest? Let's check it out.
Oh no, their baseline projection on him is terrible.
It's okay. That's not why we drafted him. We don't want the baseline. We want that sweet 99th percentile, 20th round.
Yeah. So at certain points, the computers don't know everything.
Hey, there's a whole story about him. 10 hitters on the rise. I'm just saying, it's right up there.
Oh, that might be an old one. But let's see. So yeah, 99th percentile only has him for 268 PAs. So that's just.
But hey, look at that slugging.
Dakota 10 hitters on that might be about a different Reds player, but yeah, good OPS slugging. So ideally, Senzel stays healthy, wins a full-time job in Cincinnati. Like he's going up against Tyler Naquin, Aristides Aquino, and Shogo Akiyama.
Right,
scariest competition there. So yeah,
they're gonna give him a very fair shot at earning that for sure.
I sure hope so. And I've met him in person. Seems like a cool guy. I volunteered at Reds Fest.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Nice.
Alrighty, everybody. I think that about does it for us. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. 20 round drafts are a bit of a.
It's a war of attrition, baby. Yeah.
But
yeah, this was fun, man. I'm glad we did this.
Thanks for coming on and sharing some ideas. Definitely appreciate a different point of view.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know about you, but me, I get my guys and I draft and I end up taking a lot of different variations of a very small player pool. So it's kind of cool to get exposure to, a guy like Rhys Hoskins where, for, like a huge blind spot for me, where I'm grossed out by him. Meanwhile, I'm missing what's there for me. So, it's this type of discussion that makes these communities that we've got for best ball and Underdog so fun.
Yep. So we'll save the diversification discussion and player core for next time. But thanks for coming along, everybody. Thanks for chatting along with us. Definitely appreciate being able to interact with everybody watching. And you can find us on Twitter.
Yep.
My Twitter handle is @DagusMaxDFS. AJ Nez, you're most frequently at Nez Takes.
Yeah, Nez Takes. You'll find me there. That's where I'm going to be posting the most when it comes to just my best ball thoughts and everything. So, NEZ Takes. That's where you can find me.
And then I've got everything in the description. So
awesome.
if you want to follow us on Twitter, definitely subscribe to Nez. Subscribe to me. Appreciate the support. Thanks for watching along with us, guys, and we are out of here.